It's been a while.
We're all kind of passed out in a cave.
Yeah.
Most of you are passed out in a cave.
Yeah. I'm still up and about.
Oh, well, I'm passed out
Wolves
in a cave.
kicked their ass.
Wolves did kick our
Wolves
ass.
did kick your guys' ass.
Bastion slapped a wolf's ass.
We kicked each other's ass. Because at the end of the day,
That too.
I need to stop eating these.
All right, so to give us a small rundown, you guys are heading west. There were two paths for you guys to take: through the mountains, through the woods. You guys decided to go to Granny's house through the woods. The Rhymewood, to be exact, a place that is renowned as being quite dangerous when you go into the depths of it. You guys have somewhat figured out the reason why. Winter wolves and other such wildlife, not to be freaking mentioned anyways. You guys ended up with a run-in with some winter wolves about 2 days into the forest. And it probably was going to go badly for you guys for the most part until by happenstance, a terrible boon befell you guys in the form of what is known as the Reaper's Breath. A seeming winter storm so powerful that not even those who have grown in this frigid climate can resist its strength. Due to your guys' assistance to the Winter Wolves, they decided to somewhat aid you in a sort of prideful return for that. And you were allowed to pass the fuck out in their den. A couple of you know that the leader of the Winter Wolves has left with the pack. Who knows where? You guys don't know. And the rest of you are passed the fuck out because it's cold and you almost died. Picking that up, in case you guys wanted to look at it and all that good stuff for keeping track of it, or just to remind me in case you guys want to be that kind of person and be either kind or dick about it. I have updated the calendar to the current day. That's besides the point, though.
Hell yeah.
So as of right now, it is the 9th day of the... Wait, no, not the 9th. The 19th day of Tarsaka, or whatever the hell the name of this month is. I don't quite remember how the hell I pronounced it. Besides the point. I'm buying time. So, you guys... I guess Eris, because the only other person who was awake at this point in time. Oh, Eris disconnected. That's fine. You guys are, for the most part, passed out. I mean, there's not really much you can do. It's more like a sapping of strength itself from your guys' body from the cold and things like that. So overall, by the time that you all gain enough... Goodbye, Matt. By the time you guys gain enough strength, it's pretty well into the midday, probably close to about like 11 or 12 o'clock. Casseron, Bond, you guys wake up feeling frozen, slightly more bluish than you remember, and in a location that you probably don't remember quite exactly how you got there.
Makes sense.
Looking around, you can see the fact that the cave itself, quite large. There seems to be like little ice crystals that have formed near the towards the mouth of the cave, kind of giving it this weird kind of like glittering look from the sun outside. The sky does seem to be clear, judging by the amount of light that is coming in towards the... Oh, internet is down. That's okay. You could just jump in on the phone. Maybe I'm just not meant to do D&D. Anyways,
No.
judging by the amount of light you can see coming through the through from the crystals that are kind of ricocheting the light around the entrance of the cave, you could judge the fact that it's a pretty cloudless day. The weather seems to be good. It's still absolutely freaking cold, though. You can see remnants of what looks like possibly past meals of what you could only assume might have been the wolves looking around, as well as some strange sort of like nest properties from the looks of it, as it looks like as if there's like pelts, or at least the remnants of pelts that have been sort of made into certain little areas, and kind of like spread out in different spots, like as if they're bedding.
Interesting.
You do see the scrapped remnants of what looks like might have been intruders into the woods that were taken down by the winter wolves and probably eaten, judging by the fact that, yeah, there's more than just a couple humanoid skeletons within this cave. You also notice the fact that towards the towards the back of said cave, there seems to be sort of a large drop above a sort of a cleft in the cave wall, where you can see it looks like as if it might go back even further.
Want to explore a little bit, Bon?
I mean, we can explore a little bit.
No, we can do a little bit of exploring.
So, dude.
Oh, everyone's awake now?
Yeah, I was saying the fact that time has passed. It's pretty much close to, if not midday. I kind of explained how the cave itself looks. Quick rundown. There's ice crystals at the front of it. Light going through them kind of shows the fact that it seems to be a clear day. There's what looks like bedding made by the wolves, made from scraps of pelts and other things like that. There's humanoid skeletons of not just a few people in here, as well as the remnants of whatever they might have been wearing. And there seems to be a smaller cave near the back on the outcropping. That's what I meant to call it, an outcropping of rock. That seems hard to get to.
We thought we'd take a look at it. At least a small one.
I just want to get out of the woods.
I mean, we can leave.
Hopefully we can salvage the tents.
Ah, true.
If we can even find them again.
Yep.
Alright, then let's go try and salvage our tents, or at least try to find them.
So you guys are just going to leave the cave then?
I believe so.
And search for the tents?
Yep.
All right. Everyone except Bon, roll me survival with disadvantage.
Cool.
Wow. And that one's...
I got a 4, so a 7.
So, Eris, Castron, you guys aren't really used to trapezing through things such as this. Eris, the force that you're used to is nothing like this. Yours is more closer to a jungle, in fact. Actually, it literally borders a jungle. It is more hot. The tracks that you normally look for are more imprinted and are completely different. The breaking and foliage and things like that. This place pretty much has almost no foliage, and the foliage that does exist, it seems like as if you don't really want to touch. Combined with the fact that the storm pretty much wiped away all presence of tracks, makes it to where you have no idea where in the world you're trying to go. Castron, I could say pretty much the same exact thing for you. The only thing going for you is the fact that you kind of have seemingly a better slight sense of direction than Eris does at this point in time, but you still have no idea where you're trying to go.
Yep.
Bon, now. You've trapezed through a few forests in your time, due to the fact that the place in which you come from is more on the northern part of the continent from where you can, hail from. They do have some pretty cold winters around those parts, just as they have some pretty warm summers and things like that. You've gone through your fair share of wintry forests, though none so much like this one. It does give you a bit of precedence to kind of make your way through. And while it's probably not nearly as fast as it normally would have been should you had tracks or something else to actually go on, your sense of direction as well as just sort of landmarking certain natural geographies sort of leads some sort of credence. And after about like 3 or 4 hours, you are able to find your guys' original campsite. And the only thing that even marks that for you is the fact that you can see that the peaks of some of the tents that seem to have been slightly crushed by snow are poking out of it and are completely different color.
Welp, it's not much, but this seems to be where we left.
Awesome, so now we have to dig them out.
The three of you working together, with Bastion and probably not Fate, with Bastion working in tow with you guys. It takes probably about like 20-ish minutes of messing around with the snow, trying to kind of shovel it off to the side. It's a little bit difficult because you kind of like have to almost dig a circle and then like dig inwards from it, or else the snow just kind of keeps like filtering into it. And so it probably takes a little bit longer than if you didn't have to do that.
Makes sense.
But nonetheless, you guys are able to get the tent and other such things out of there. The tents are somewhat salvageable if you gather a couple materials or even use something else, such as like possibly like leather or something like that, in order to patch a couple holes that came from the snow just being way too much weight on the tents. Some of the other stuff that you guys had around there, sleeping bags and other things like that, once you defrost it pretty much and let it dry out, should also be manageable. But it will take a bit of time. And if you guys stay in cold weather such as this without staying at least like a few hours in some place next to a fire to let such a thing happen and actually do that stuff, you're probably not going to be able to use it tonight.
Well, we can always... Well, Bon, if you know how to get back to that cave, we can always dry these suckers out and stay there another night.
That's assuming the wolves will let us stay there another night.
Well, true. If they're there.
I'd rather leave the forest.
The problem with that is we're not going to be able to sleep in these. And it's already cold enough.
Honestly, I say the decision should be yours, Bon. You're the one more adept to these kind of things. At least you seem like it.
With how cold it is, I would definitely suggest going back to the cave for at least one more night, even if we have to barter with the wolves.
Very well.
They are at least intelligent, so we can at least attempt to reason.
So
Alright, I guess
Alright.
we'll gather up our stuff and make our way back.
All right, so you guys gather up your stuff. Takes about another like 10 minutes trying to kind of like crank through all of the ice that is now on these things. And it's a bit of extra weight, so it's a bit more slow going due to the fact that the snow is probably deepened by a little over a foot in some places. But you guys are able to make your way back following the same track, so it's a lot quicker than before. About a 45-minute trek through the snow. During that time, you do see the fact that there's like the little bit of wildlife here and there, so you feel a little bit safer than prior, due to the fact that previously all the wildlife sort of randomly disappeared. But yeah, you see some like kind of like bluish white rabbits and squirrels and stuff like that seem to be going around. And off in the distance, you do spot a single deer as you make your way back to the cave.
If I see the deer, I'm gonna take my chance to try and get it.
Roll me a stealth check. Okay. Now roll me a survival.
Well,
So you start to make your way through the snow and things like that. It's a little bit slow going. And as you're going through, you get into this sort of rhythm that you normally have whenever you're hunting, especially in a forest, and you unintentionally get too close to one of the trees, and you feel this sort of like icy freaking pain slashing across your back as you put your back up against one of the trees. You take 6 points of cold damage. But the deer still has not noticed you. You are now close enough at this point in time to the point where you can try and take it down. Make me an attack roll. Why did you roll with disadvantage? Oh,
I have no idea why I did that.
That's weird.
It's still doing it.
Oh, just a second. I know why.
Oh.
You're unconscious.
Yeah, it was still showing you unconscious. Whoops.
Awesome.
I thought I already cleared all that stuff, but apparently I didn't. Okay, now you should be fine. Yeah, there you go. All right. You pull out the longbow. You remember your trainer's teachings, and you sort of take a deep breath, and as you release that breath, you let loose the arrow, and all you hear in the silent wood is just sound of the arrow flitting through the air. And then you hear in the distant a distant sound of the echo of the arrow striking into the deer right in the head. And you hear a small, like, kind of like cry of pain from it before it hits the ground, and it seems to be thrashing around. It doesn't seem like as if you quite killed it, but it looks to be in severe pain.
Well, while it's doing that, I'll shorten the distance between us, and then if it's still alive when I get to it, I'll finish it off.
Due to the difficult terrain, you don't quite make it there in time to really end its suffering before it does die off on its own. But you made quite the beautiful attack on this and are able to take this down with a single arrow. You, upon closer inspection at this, you notice the fact that the pelt itself seems to have that sort of bluish white color to it, like the other animals within the wood. But also the antlers do, as this is a buck.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try and haul the whole thing back with us.
All right, roll me an athletics check. You are struggling. This thing is heavy. You're carrying you're carrying your own supplies. You're carrying this buck, and you're also going through probably about thigh-high snow for the most part. It's difficult. You do it, but it's difficult. and it takes you probably from the original about 30 to 45 minutes that it would have to about an hour and a half.
That's fine.
I guess once we make it to the cave, I'll attempt to start a fire.
All right. Yeah. There's not really a whole lot for you to be able to start a fire directly in here. You'd probably have to gather some stuff, or perhaps risk angering the wolves to use some of the pelts and like other things like that are in there to burn. Though that might not be a completely good idea.
Yeah, I'd rather not piss the wolves off. I'll attempt to gather what I can for the force. That's probably not good for me because I suck.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a. Go ahead and roll me 2 survival checks. Nice. Okay. So you're able to kind of flit through the snow, flinging some of it to the sides and stuff like that. Being a little bit careful, you're able to find some branches from the wood around here. And there's some of the branches that you notice seem to not have some of the bark on there. Like it seems like as if the bark may have been like stripped off due to one thing or another in certain spots. And you sort of risk touching it a little bit. And you notice the fact that the parts in which the bark are not on don't seem to actually have that same effect as the bark itself. Unfortunately, while you are collecting wood for doing this, there are a couple cases where you accidentally kind of brush against the bark a little bit, and you do take a little bit of damage. You take 6 points of cold damage. All right. But after about 15, 20 minutes, let's say 20 minutes, you are able to gather enough wood to actually start a fire and keep it going for at least an hour or so of going back and forth. There's a lot of trees in here, so it wouldn't be too difficult to actually find the wood. Just getting it back without hurting yourself is the difficult part.
Well, without dying, because my wound is at 21.
Yeah, you guys technically did not get the benefit of a long rest due to this, so.
Yep.
Well, they were out cold. I was just kind of there trying to stay warm. So. We're going to probably have to take short rests.
Yep. All right. So with that, you're able to use the supplies that you guys did salvage back from your camp to start a small fire, and you're able to build it up a little bit till you have a sizable one. Where do you exactly place this fire? The cave is quite large. You have the pretty decently sized entrance in which allows like a couple wolves at a time to enter. So it's, I would say, probably about like 20 feet wide. And it widened after about 15 feet, it widens out into a large opening area where about like 20-ish wolves would be able to fit. So I would say that the cave itself is probably about like a 40, if I put it in square terms, it would probably be like a 40 by like 45 foot size area. So it's pretty large. There's quite a few places that you'd be able to put the fire itself, and the reason why I'm asking this is because it'll differ depending on where you place it on how effective it is.
Where'd you put the fire?
I don't know where I should friggin' put it.
I mean, it's fine. It'll still be a fire, so it'll do its role. It's just it'll have a differing effect of how effective it, differing effectiveness depending on where you put it. It'll still achieve its main effect, but there'll be a different strength to the effect depending on where you put it. So it's not like as if you have to think about it too hard. Just like, oh, by the entrance, in the center, towards the back, on top of one of the wolf's beds. No, I'm joking. Don't do that one.
Oh, wolf.
Yeah, I want to risk angering the wolf is a little fossil, and so the center of the big large area is probably where it would get the least in the way. I think. I don't know.
Okay. So you put it in the center. You get it built up. It's pretty warm, actually, near the center of this. It has a pretty good warmth out to about 20, 30 feet, thereabout. Outside of that, though, it quickly cools back down, and towards the entrance, pretty much until you get within the radius of warmth, it's almost frigid. Bon, I'm imagining that you probably want to dissect this deer into oblivion.
Correct.
So go ahead and roll me another survival check for that one. If there's anything that you want to investigate about the deer, though, I'm going to have you roll me one of two rolls, and that'll either be nature or arcane.
Well, while he's doing that, I'm gonna use mold earth to create a little pot and fill it with snow.
Yay, my rolls are amazing today.
So one thing you are looking over. Wait, you're using mold earth to make a pot and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, you're able to do that. You do that just fine. It's not too hard. There's earth all around you.
Yeah, and fill it with snow so we can have some water for boiling like this.
Okay. Yeah, smart idea. Good idea. So you do that. You start getting it all set up. You kind of use the mold earth, make a pot hanging over the fire. Start getting some snow to melt in order to get some water to actually start boiling. You're kind of just shoveling snow into it to get enough water. And during that time, you kind of notice out of the corner of your eyes, Bon, you're trying to kind of investigate on this deer. Even within the warmth of the fire, it still feels cold to the touch. No matter where you touch it on the body, the fur, the antlers, the teeth, whatever, everything, the hooves, they all feel cold still. Almost as if the ice kind of is attached to it almost. You don't really know how this might either benefit or adversely affect the animal or anyone that comes in contact with the animal. But you're just figure that out later. And you try and take a knife in order to start skinning it. And you stick the knife to it, and you almost hear a crack, as it seems as if it has hit solid ice. And you can't get the knife to actually pierce through the hide.
Well, this is interesting.
You kind of think about it for a moment, and you're just well, how in the world did I kill it? And then you remember the fact that the arrow actually went through the eye into the brain. So the eye was probably a weak point, because the hide doesn't seem to actually be letting the dagger go through in order to skin it. So what is Castron doing in all this?
Good question. Probably helping setting up the bedding and all that, getting it warm and dried out.
All right. So, during that time in which you are doing so, you are getting all of the tents, the bedrolls, and all that other crap set out in order to de-thaw and be warmed up, all that good stuff, so that we can actually use it again. Yay! During that time, I need you to roll me a perception check.
Okay. Here we go. Natural 20.
You're with these, and as you're setting everything out, the bags, all that good stuff, you notice there's something strange about one of the tents in particular. You don't quite remember whose tent it even was, but one of them has a strange imprint in the leather of it. And as you're taking a closer look at it, you realize that it almost looks like a wolf's paw print, but it seems huge. It was sort of like indiscernible with all the frost and ice that was encrusted on it, but as you're kind of like wiping some of it off, getting it all like frosted and things like that, waiting for it to warm up and get the water back out of the leather so you can oil it back down and all that good stuff, you notice that it seems to have warped the leather a little bit, and it looks like a gigantic wolf paw. And by that, I mean, like, it pretty much looks like as if that one paw crushed the vast majority of that tent.
Yeah. Kind of like stretch it out and show it to Eris, like, this is a huge wolf paw.
That's gonna take some time to repair. And it looks like
I mean, there's no really holes. It just looks like it's stretched it a bit, so someone's tent is going to have a wolf paw decoration.
I mean, if it's stretched out, that means, you know, it could be actually big enough for Faye.
Maybe.
Good point, young lady. No, I'm joking. There's
no.
nobody there. But
Who are you?
anyways, so during all this time, you guys spend a little bit of time doing this. Are you guys just going to pretty much take a short rest or something along those lines while you wait for the freaking crap to defrost and dethaw, all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, take a short rest. Well,
I.
you know,
Going
make
to
this-
rest and keep this deer near the fire and keep trying to figure out why I can't do anything with it.
Hooray! That was all of my die, and I'm still have.
You gonna roll any hit die to recover HP, Bond?
Well, if my HP is what it says it is, then I should be fine for now.
It says that you have 19, or you have taken 19 damage, so you have 6 HP left.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how much your damage you've taken, not how much you have. It's a little.
Yeah, I gotta remember that.
Yeah, it's a little strange. Though once I figured that out, that's actually how I've started doing all of my D&D stuff, of just putting in how much damage I've taken over how much I have left. Way easier to do math that way.
There we go.
All right, so during this point in time, you kind of just stare at the animal, a little too exhausted to deal with it at this point in time, and you guys let an hour or so pass in order to gather your strength back up, warm yourselves around the fire. You guys kind of take a couple turns going out, gathering some wood. There's a couple of incidences until Eris decides to tell you guys that, hey, the wood without the bark won't hurt you.
Well, that would have been nice to know.
You guys have a pretty sizable amount of firewood at the ready, and you guys have pretty much passed the time with little to no effort. At this point in time, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon. There's a large deer sitting in front of you guys. I'm going to go ahead and roll some hit dice for Bastion real quick, actually. There we go. Just that way he doesn't miss out on it. All right, so you guys, it's about 4:30 in the afternoon at this point in time. Not really a whole lot that you guys have been able to do. It's been a slow road to recovery, so far throughout this day. You guys the wolves have not returned so far from what you've seen. You can see the fact that the sun seems to be starting on its path to lowering down. That was a lot of quicken spells out of nowhere.
Ed, taking a short rest reset it, and it's not supposed to do that.
Oh, that's weird. I thought I set that to where it did that on a long rest. I might need to redo that.
I changed it to daily because you did have it set to rest, but it seems to there's no long rest or short rest option.
Oh, that's weird. All right. Well, with that, anyways, the wolves seem to have not returned yet, and it seems like the sun's well on its way to setting at this point in time. It'd probably be a bad idea to try and go out and start setting out into the woods, as there's pretty much no light coming from the cave anymore. You guys have the option to do so should you wish to, or you could risk your lives staying within the wolves' den, bartering, or just taking it over, however you guys wish to do so. But that is a complete choice up to you. The deer still there, doesn't seem to really have changed over the course of the hour.
The house attendants and stuff.
I need to get the door.
The tents have pretty much completely defrosted. It's going to take a bit of effort in order to repair them, though, as well as oil them back down, because there are some like small holes here and there through them, which won't make it to where they're completely useless, but it will reduce the effectiveness of the tents.
Yeah. I wonder if we could just try and combine the tents into just one big tent.
Lynx, I love you. Get
If you wish to make a roll for it, I don't see why not.
Kitty cat.
I mean,
I am back. My package is here.
welcome back. That was more of just me throwing a suggestion to see if anyone else likes that idea. And in case, since you didn't hear, I was suggesting we try and combine the two tents into one big one. That could just fit all of us, and see if we can just have it be fixed that way.
We could try that. I mean, more people in the tent, more body heat, and keep us warm.
What say you, Bon?
Well, hopefully that will work. I'm still really confused about this deer. I'm having issues getting it skinned and prepped.
Can I look at it? I don't know if I'll do any help, but...
I mean, it's right here.
No, I was asking the DM.
I mean, it's right there.
Okay. I will look at the deer.
You are looking at the deer. It's a buck, pretty large, adult from what you can tell, as far as deer go. You've done your fair share of traveling. It does strike you as odd the fact that I have an alarm going off my head. I don't know if you guys heard that. It does strike you as odd the fact that it does have the strange bluish white fur, and the antlers seem to kind of follow that same color scheme. Otherwise, it seems to look like a normal deer. Even the hooves, the cloven hooves themselves, seem to be of more like a kind of like dark brown color, rather than being white or anything like that.
Interesting.
It looks like a cold deer.
It's a cold deer. It's cold deer. I mean, I'm not much in survival. I can try and skin it, but I don't think I'll do very well. But, well, I can give it a shot. Well, fuck. I kind of feel like I need to do this at disadvantage, but who knows?
You don't skin it.
Okay.
You are sort of like poking, prodding at the deer here and there. And you notice something. something almost impersonable, like impossible to notice. As you're kind of like poking and prodding here and there with like your hand and the knife and stuff like that, you feel a strange sensation near the antlers. And as you focus on that, it feels like as if there's some sort of magic in the antlers themselves. Sort of similar to how the berries were almost, and the fact that it seems like as if it has this strange, refreshing, cold energy to it. The fur itself seems to also slightly carry this, but to a much smaller degree. Like once you've noticed it in the antlers, it becomes a little easier once you know what you're looking for, but it's barely noticeable even in the fur. And you have a feeling that perhaps it is the horns that have something to do with the reason why you can't skin it.
Bon, I think it might be the horns is the biggest issue. There's a bit more magic coming from them than the pelt itself. Maybe if we break them off?
I mean, we can try.
All right. You can easily snap them off, but if you want to try and make them salvageable, I'm going to have you roll a survival with disadvantage, or try and do it a more natural way and roll nature. You're trying to pretty much like kind of saw these antlers off, but you do not have the knife for this. The knife is more for like plucking through like more smooth scales and pelts and things like that. More for getting the skin off of a creature and things like that, not for removing said parts. And you try and use some of your other stuff that's more for like prying free fangs and stuff like that. But even that stuff, it doesn't really have like the item that you need. You need more like almost what it feels like a saw to be going through this thing. And so it takes you a while, about 20 minutes, just to hack through this one antler. You're able to finally do it, but it takes you a long while.
I need to sharpen your knife.
You do notice the fact that your knife does seem to be feeling pretty blunt.
Oh no.
And that's only one of them.
Yeah. Alright, I guess I'm going to try a more different approach with the other antler and just try and hack it off with my short sword.
All right. With that case, roll me an attack roll with advantage on this one.
Nope. I just realized I didn't have a...
Nice.
I was about to offer one of my daggers, but I wasn't pressing the right button.
Oh. So, you are just like, well, I don't really want to break this freaking knife that I paid some good money for, and you put that away, and you take out your short sword, and you sort of are aiming your short sword, and you prepare yourself, and then with a small outtake of breath, like a you slice the short sword down cleanly through the antler. Though you do feel a strange resistance, almost like as if you're trying to cut into like a sort of like a soft stone almost. You kind of felt like this weird grinding sensation as you sliced through the antler. As you do so, though, the antler collapses to the ground, and almost like as if through, what do you know, magic, it seems to almost just shatter as soon as it hits the ground.
Well, at least I got one of them.
So with that, you do notice the fact that the blue tint to the fur seems to kind of fade away as you do this. And now it's just a pure white pelt.
There you go, Bond. Now let's try that.
All right.
Go ahead and roll me a survival with advantage on this one. Nice.
Much easier.
Yes, you take the knife. I'm imagining that you sharpen it a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah, and you take the knife, you go through a thing of sharpening the blade's edge a little bit, and then you kind of like have a little intake of breath, like as if you're not sure if this is a good idea, and then you kind of stab it into the belly, and it goes through like as if you're putting a hot knife into butter. And you kind of let out a relieved sigh before you start to do what you normally do with the animal, and you start to dismantle it.
Hooray!
Hooray! Now we know what to do.
Yay, I'm actually useful.
Again. Yeah, that's the first time for everything.
Hey.
Wow. So you're able to get through the natural 20. I'll say the fact that you're able to get the entire pelt. You have an entire winter deer pelt. I'll add that in your inventory in just a second.
I already did.
Okay, good. And you were also able to get around, I would say, 150 pounds worth of deer meat.
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and take some of that so we can prepare some deer venison soup or some shit.
Good deal.
All right.
Because I didn't actually say what I was making yet, aside from saying a soup. I was actually waiting.
Well, now you have the meat.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for you to dismantle it if you were having trouble.
Well, I'm going to only write down 100 pounds of it so you can have at least 50.
I can't carry 50.
Eris is weak.
Well, you can use some of it for cooking.
Probably about a pound or two would be all we would need for cooking for us, right? I'm trying to imagine how much.
Extra meat.
Extra meat, all the meat.
Meat stew.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and roll me that cooking skill for me as you do that, and everyone kind of gets their stuff. If you guys are going to combine the tents, though, I will need a. Who is going to work on that?
I'll help with that since I've been drying them.
Okay, so is it only Casseron doing it?
I'll help out after I get done with the deer.
Okay. Well, I imagine this is going to be happening during the time which Eris is cooking.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the deer meat. 5 pounds of deer
Cat's
meat.
just like
Deer
Eris
meat
is just
there.
like extra meat. Okay, just shoves all the meat in there. So the stew itself is kind of gamey. There's not really a whole lot that was added into it due to personal requests towards Eris. That's all Eris put in it was just the meat.
Yeah.
So
That
a little
was
bit bland, but you know, it's
honestly
it's
that was
satiating.
kind of my idea anyway. So works out.
If anything, we can divide up the 45 pounds throughout the rest of the party.
I can do that.
Yeah. All
I
right.
can at least like 10.
So, while Eris is cooking the stew, though, you two are working on the tent. I'll need a combined total of 3 checks from you guys. I need a survival, a sleight of hand, and a... Oh god, I had it originally. Performance. There we go. Okay. With the two of you combined, you're able to somehow manhandle this freaking monstrosity into existence.
Hooray!
Hooray!
And you guys are sitting there and you're kind of like using a mixture of like daggers and like some weird like needles and stuff like that. And you guys are kind of like arguing back and forth. Bon, you're used to like making encampments out of like freaking like wooden leaves and stuff like that. And Casseron, you're just like, this is the way you're actually supposed to do it. And because of the fact that you're more like on the like fashionable side. And so you have more of an idea of like actual tailoring and things like that. And it's just kind of this argument going back and forth. And finally, you guys are able to, during the time in which Eris finally gets done with the meal, come to some sort of agreement and are actually able to make it. And so you just have a large tent.
Hell yeah.
That's able to encompass a total of 8 people. And is protected from the elements. And Pancake died for some reason. That's fine.
Pancake, no. I just love the fact
Disconnected due to inactivity. What are you talking about?
I just love the fact, like, as we're doing it, just like, leaves? What barbarian are you, Bon? Leaves are not going to keep us warm.
Bugbear.
I'm a bugbear. There we go.
A bugbearian.
There we go.
Both of us at the same time. It's like, Eris, stay out of this.
All right, so everyone gets a meal. The tent is all fixed up. At this point in time, it is it's like 5:30. It's getting pretty late into the day. It's definitely too late to really do any sort of traveling at this point in time. The wolves still have not returned at this point. You're unsure if they're actually even going to return. You guys could either like get an early rest, or you could do some exploring around in the cave, or even some exploring around the outside of the cave. Or you guys could try and make your way through the forest if you want to, but just by looking outside the cave, it's kind of on the dark side due to all of the trees and stuff like that blocking out the light, so it'd be pretty difficult to make your way. But it is up to you guys.
Oh, we could get an early rest. What do you all think? We can do some exploration.
I wouldn't mind exploring around the inside of the cave for a bit.
I mean, we can always look at that little alcove over there that I pointed out.
What does young lady Eris think of the moment?
Eris is just gonna sit down, begin her meditation. You all can do that. I'll just begin my rest.
I'm gonna suit yourself. Bon, keep an eye out. Not Bon. Bastion, keep an eye out.
Yeah, Bastion just like sits down and turns into freaking sentry mode.
Good job.
No, joking. He's like Bastion from Overwatch. He just turns into a turret. It's like beep. Anyways, not the point. Yeah, no, Bastion just sits out. I'm not going to control him. So, Bon, Casseron, you guys look around. Like I said before, cave entrance, bedding, skeletons with remnants of whatever the heck the skeletons had on them. Outcropping a rock that looks difficult to get to.
Bon, lift me. I'm curious what this is.
The outcropping is about 15 feet high.
Unless you know how to get up there.
My attempt at lifting.
So you pick up Catron with your combined height, Catron. You kind of just are barely able to grab onto the lip of the outcropping. I'm going to need you to roll me an athletics check to try and lift yourself up.
I can help by pushing a little bit.
You can do so with advantage.
Yay! I'm like, alright, let's go, this -1. Oh, look at that.
Natural 20. So,
Wow.
19. Man, there's been like 5 natural 20s. Anyways.
I know.
Bond throws Castron up.
Ah!
Yeah.
He's
Friggin'
still-
like Castron, you start like trying to lift yourself up and you're just like, I can't quite lift up, and Bond's just like, ugh, and just kind of like shoves you upwards and you kind of like get flung up onto the ledge. And as you're rolling on top of that, the ceiling is a lot closer at this point in time. Looking towards the direction of the small cave, you can see there seems to be some sort of strange light coming from the back of it, but it seems almost like as if it goes around a corner. The light itself seems to have like this sort of like silvery blue color.
Huh. Bond, do you have any way to get up here, or do you need me to help you?
Do you have something to weigh down as an anchor point for a rope?
It's time to go through my shit. Inventory, there it is. I have the boots, a crossbow bolts, healer's kit, holy symbol, leather, a mace, a playing card set. Oh, we can play cards later. Not the point. We have potions, priest pack, rations. I have the shield. Maybe. And warm clothes. So that's really about it. And please do not suggest me using myself as an anchor. Not a good idea.
Is there anything up there to tie it to?
I look around to see if there's anything to tie it to. Let me use my perception.
Not gonna work. Where exactly are you looking? There's the cave itself, there's the walls, there's the outcropping that you're standing on, there's all sorts of places that you could look around you, but where?
The outcropping.
Go ahead and roll me an investigation.
Okay. Blink.
You look around on the outcropping. You're kind of like feeling around. It's kind of dark up here. You have dark vision, not really helping a whole lot since stone is already kind of like gray, black, and all that color anyways. So everything's sort of like melding together. You're kind of feeling around. And as you're doing so, you feel a sort of jutting in the rock itself that seems to jut kind of upwards. And as you feel around it and you're kind of like pushing and pulling on it, it seems almost like as if it's a part of the rock, like a stalagmite that's kind of sticking out. Though very small. It seems like as if it might be big enough for you to be able to wrap a rope around it or something along those lines in order to make sure that you'd be able to anchor it in place.
We have the stalagmite over here.
All
Can you
right,
give this a
catch.
try? Okay.
I throw my rope.
I go to catch.
Roll me a dexterity check with disadvantage. It is dark. While you have dark vision, everything's kind of blurring together.
That's fine. I missed.
Just like, okay, and then you reach out and you grab towards it, but your depth perception is kind of off and you completely miss the rope. I need you to roll me a dex save as you're kind of teetering on the edge, about to fall over.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ooh, man. All that training came in use somehow as you kind of just like flick your cloak around and the momentum of the weight of the clothing actually kind of like swings you around and you're able to put your foot back in place. But man, you kind of wipe away that sweat. That was a close one.
You okay up there?
I'm fine. Just fine. Okay, let's try this one more time. Yeah, throw it further.
This time I'll throw it up and over. That way, if you don't catch it, you don't fall.
I would appreciate that.
All right, roll this dexterity check with just roll a normal dexterity check. Yeah.
I
So-
may have caught it.
You try and grab out towards it, you miss it, it starts sliding out, and you kind of like jump and grab it, but you kind of like smash your face into the ground a little bit, and you take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Don't
Sup,
talk
Elijah?
like this.
But you got the rope.
I have the rope. I'm going to tie it on the stalagmite.
All right, roll me an intelligence check.
Got it. I'm good at those.
Somewhat.
Good at those.
So you're not really apt in using ropes. You're more normally like a kind of like a person kind of dude, and so you more like talk people down or up and all that stuff. And so you're not used to like trying to tie things or people or anything really for that matter up. You leave that more to the brutes of the party. And so you're just kind of like staring at this rope like,
I think I need
and
to
you just kind of like shrug your shoulders
just
and
looking
just
at
start
it.
tying.
I'm just looking at it like, yeah, I think I need to start doing the heavy work a little bit more often. Because, I'm gonna be honest, Bond, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll try my best.
And you start just kind of tying it, and it seems like as if it's pretty tight.
I think this should be fine. Yanking on it a little bit. Like, yeah, this will be fine. Alright, Bond, come on up.
I shall make the attempt.
All right, roll me in athletics or acrobatics. Your choice. I imagine acrobatics. Or
I
athletics.
mean, they're both the same right now. Oh wait, no, acrobatics is better. Oh well.
Yeah, I was about to say you're a monk. Acrobatics should be higher. Well, you're kind of going up, and as you're going up, you're making your way, and a part of the stone on the wall kind of gives way, and you start to slip down, and you don't take damage, but you do fall back down. I need you to roll me another check in order to try again.
Give me 1 second. I got to check something to see if I realize something. I mean,
And it's average, so maybe. Okay, so
tent
you
building had me all flustered.
you you kind of just like, oh, there's an easier way to go about this, and so you kind of like use some of your monk training, and you fill your legs with ki, and you kind of use your arms in order to just keep yourself going in an upwards direction as you're kind of kicking off the wall, going up the rope, and you go up it at a pretty incredible speed, and within just a few moments you're actually up the rope and on the outcropping with Casseron.
Bravo. Alright, you ready to continue?
Yep.
Alright, off exploring we go. Have fun, you all.
This is just deep meditation still. You probably would have to tap her.
That's fine. Bastion's there. He believes he listened. He heard him.
Yeah. So Bastion is talking your ear off, Eris, about all kinds of things. You're unable to meditate.
Oh,
You're
no.
fine. I'm joking.
My ears twitch.
But yeah, so you guys are going in the cave. easily like what was noticed by Castron before. Bond, you notice the fact that there seems to be a strange kind of silvery blue light that is coming from the back of this. It seems to be around a corner though, but it's pretty strong. Like it's pretty obviously there. There's no denying that this light exists. As you're going through, you feel the air growing even colder. And in fact, even with your winter clothes and gear and all that stuff on, you start to shiver as you proceed down this. You've proceeded about 25, 30-ish feet down this like back area, and it's a pretty large opening, big enough for at least even the leader of all these winter wolves to actually make their way through. And as you proceed down about another 5 feet in front of you, you notice the fact that it turns off to the right, and the light is a lot brighter.
My eyes.
Yeah. My eyes. So you guys turn around the corner, I'd imagine, and what you see is actually quite shocking. It's a gigantic wolf. It looks like as if it's barely big enough to be able to fit through the entrance down to this. Like the leader of the wolves would be pretty easily able to, but this wolf is even bigger than that one, and it looks like a veteran of battle. There are scars all over its body, but it seems to be frozen in a gigantic sculpture of ice. You can see the fact that the wolf looks like as if it was snarling, and there are parts of the ice that seem like as if it was dyed red by what looked like might have been wounds from some sort of battle that the wolf had previously been in.
Wow, what the hell happened to this thing? Kind of going to it.
Not sure, but it looks definitely like it got frozen in place.
Exactly. I gently tap on the ice.
Constitution save.
Oh shit! Constitution. 2. got a 3. My ice sculpture.
Yes, you are.
Ah, great. I'm dead.
No, you're not quite an ice sculpture just yet. But you do take 11 points of cold damage.
Ow.
Thank goodness we had a short rest.
I made a mistake.
As you just barely brush your hand across this, even through your winter gear, you feel like as if the cold pervases into your glove, and for some reason you can't move your hand now. Removing your glove, you can see the fact that your hand seems to actually be frozen.
Bond, what do I do?
I'm going to grab my squirrel pelt and grab her and try and remove her from the ice.
As you do so, you hear a sort of cracking for a moment, and the ice around Castron's hand starts to crack as it's removed from the sculpture. And it seems to just sort of like burst into silvery particles. As you notice the fact that even from the hand, it looks like as if it was moving down Castron's arm. But it bursts into this fine silvery blue powder and just kind of like wafts down to the ground.
Okay, don't touch it. Don't touch the wolf. Okay, I am sorry.
I mean, don't touch it barehanded.
I had a glove on.
We already know gloves do not help
That's
with the
true.
trees.
But still, puts the glove back on, just...
So...
I almost lost an arm.
So you guys do notice, up turn closer into this wolf, that the room seems to actually have a area that goes around the wolf itself all the way around. You do notice that there seems to be strange ice crystals that are forming here and there along the walls, and there seems to be this almost like silvery mist that seems to be in it, like as if the warmer air of the cave and the frigid coldness from this that seems like as if it's like an abyss of ice and cold energy is kind of mixing to create this sort of weird freezing mist around the area. It kind of hurts to breathe. But looking around, you can see the fact that kind of through the sculpture, though somewhat distorted due to the random edges in it, there seems to be an actual exit to the cave on the other side behind the wolf. That seems actually even bigger than the entrance in which you just entered through.
Oh, look, we can continue.
I don't know what the edit for.
Part of me regrets having Eris go to sleep because I have a fun adventure, but Eris really wants to work.
Ah, you're all good.
Oh, I can at least listen.
Alright, off we go.
All right. So, you guys circumvent the gigantic wolf, which, mind you, Castron, still actually isn't as big as the gigantic wolf print that was on your guys' tent.
Yep.
You circumvent it, making sure not to touch the sculpture of wolf ice. And you get to the other side. During this point in time, I need you guys to go ahead and roll me another Constitution save, both of you.
I'm not having a good time. It's cold.
Castron, you take an additional 1 point of cold damage as it feels like as if your lungs are being frozen, like as if there's small shards of ice that you're breathing in.
Okay, I'm not doing so hot.
Do you want to go back?
I think it might be a good idea. Let me...
You would have to go back through the room as you are now on the other side, which means that you're going to have to make another Constitution save.
Let me heal myself. I need to target myself. How do I target myself?
Oh, okay? Yeah, here, let me do that for you.
I think baseline the default would be targeting yourself.
I made sure you targeted yourself, anyways.
Thank you. And heal.
All right.
Alright, so I
can...
have 2 more of those if we want to keep going.
Yeah, you guys can continue onwards or head back. Continuing onwards, from the looks of it, it's a pretty dark cave. You do feel what seems like as if more, I can't really say warm air, but warmer air than whatever the hell is going on behind you with that gigantic wolf.
Well, I would suggest if we keep going forward, we don't spend too much time going forward, because eventually we do need to head back and get some sleep.
Of course. Let's go a little bit further, and then we can come back. I'm just curious what's around this corner.
She says, as he has no idea.
I couldn't hear you. You cut out.
I was just saying, he says as he has no idea if there is a corner or not.
That's fine.
Speaking of which, there is no corner, because as you guys move forward, probably about 45 feet forward, it seems like as if this gigantic cave tunnel that you guys have been started walking through on the other side of the wolf sculpture, which seems large enough for the wolf sculpture to actually be moved through. You do notice there seems to be an outcropping of snow-covered rock that seems to be sort of overlooking part of the Rime Woods, the Rime Wood Forest. And it is pretty much almost dark outside. At this point in time, the sun has, for the most part, set. It's like 6 p.m. And as you guys are looking out, you notice the fact that kind of vaguely off towards the sort of northwest, there seems to have been some sort of like weird disturbance in the trees as you see some of the trees, the treetops that you can sort of see in that distance seem to be sort of like being swayed back and forth. And it almost looks like as if there's a large creature that is moving through it that seems to be heading towards the west. And it is exceedingly obvious due to the fact that, strangely enough, even though you haven't seemed to have seen any of them, there are some birds that are taking off from the trees over from that area, like as if they're being disturbed by something.
Huh. And that's heading away from us, or?
That is toward the northwest of you guys, heading further west.
Okay.
I would say due to where you guys are at. Looking back, you can see that with the small amount of sunlight that there is, the tunnel which you just came from seems to be slightly sloping downwards. And so you're probably a pretty decent height above where the original entrance of the cave is, to where you're tall enough to just be kind of barely above the trees. So you're able to see a pretty damn good distance from where you guys are right now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty far off, but it's also pretty noticeable as, like I said before, you guys have not seen like any birds since you entered the Rime Woods. And suddenly you're seeing birds taking off from these trees and seeing these trees that are swaying back and forth, which you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's not really a whole lot else. I mean, the sun's setting. You can see the top of the trees. They're just as white above, the silvery white, as they are below. Not really a whole lot. There's quite a lot of tree going off to the west. Towards the east, you can kind of see where it looks like as if the Rime Wood might end through your couple days travel in towards the west from the east.
Makes sense. Alright. Ready to go back, Bon?
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
Did you guys go back through the cave?
Yes.
All right. Well, you roll me another Constitution save as you pass by the statue.
Better.
Castron, you're prepared this time. You're like walking by it, and you're just like, all right, just don't breathe. And you just hold your breath the entire time as you go through. Bon, not as lucky. You're going through, and you feel that kind of icy pain in your lungs sort of like enhance almost, as it seems like as if you might get a little too close to the ice sculpture as you kind of trip over like an ice crystal on the ground, and you take 4 points of cold damage. I keep rolling this in the tower. I should just roll this for you guys all to see. I don't know why I'm doing that. Oh, I just rolled a 4 anyways. Okay. After that, though, you guys make your way back, feeling a little tired, kind of confused, and you guys see the cave in all of its glory. No wolves to be found. This whole venture, it's pretty much like 7 p.m. at this point in time, going through all this. I imagine that you guys get down on, from the outcropping and are pretty much settled in. It is only 7 p.m. though, so there is some other stuff that you guys can do, but at this point in time, the sun is pretty much gone.
Got it. Castle will just get ready and probably just take an early rest. Who would actually? He'll kind of sit up and pause. Like, we need to do watches. Who wants to go first?
That
Okay. Bastion, wake up whoever you feel like needs to go next, then I guess.
So he goes and he wakes up Fate then. Wait, but Fate, you're not in Fantasy Grounds. Nephron, he picks you up.
Okay. I wake up and sigh. Alright, my turn.
He sets you by the fire, and then he goes, and he doesn't say anything, and he powers down.
Good night, Bastion.
He's become just a soulless bastion. You know, this is what it's like to have one.
Yep.
I guess sometime during your watch, I'm gonna wake up from my meditation.
Pretty much at the end of Casseron's.
Guess I'll do a
When did I
perception
start my
check.
meditation? Wasn't it like...
Oh, well, actually, no. Pretty much at the beginning of this watch, you would wake up because you started about 5 p.m. and it would now be 9.
Yeah. So, I guess it'll be a 2-person watch.
Well, maybe you'll see better than me, because I got a 7.
Yeah. Yes, you do. So, Casseron, you hear the crackling of the fire. And that's pretty much it. Eris, you hear the crackling of the fire. And that's also actually pretty much it. There's nothing really going on tonight. There's like nothing. You guys are in a cave. The wolves still have not come back. You don't hear any sort of sound in which they may be coming back. There doesn't seem to be any animal activity outside the cave, though, judging by how far you guys are from the cave entrance, which would be at this point in time close to about like 45 feet away. It would be kind of difficult for you guys to hear activity around the caves, around the cave. Nothing really happens. You're just kind of sitting there, put some wood on the fire, maybe make some banter, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a frozen wolf up in that alcove that we explored.
Oh, really? I guess I maybe should have went with you. I just leave the woods.
No, that's fine. I get that. It's cold.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I made a dumb decision. I touched it, and my hand almost frozen. But Fate would have had a fun time.
At least you're back to normal.
True.
I think I'll boil some water and refill our water skins. Wow, derp.
Right. Yeah, you do that. You do have to go out of. You do have to go out of the cave itself in order to gather some of the snow.
Yeah.
While you do so, you do notice that there is a severe lack of any animal noises. Whereas before, it was kind of just like you would just hear like the scritching of like the squirrels on the trees, or like kind of like the poof sound of the rabbits like jumping across the snow, things like that. There's a severe lack of any sound of that, and you're not 100% sure if there's something wrong or if it's just because you're near you're like in a predator's den, and so they just don't come around here. Not 100% sure.
Still something of no. Well, at least inform Casron. Probably at least. Maybe keep 2 people on the watch.
You do feel a cold breeze kind of like come in, and as that happens, you notice a small snowflake go across your vision, and you have a feeling that it might snow later in the morning.
Yeah. Well, after I get the, gather the snow to, for our water skins, I'm gonna inform Casron that it's eerily quiet. Like, no sound of animals or anything.
Might be a bit concerning. Whenever we were continued through the little outcropping, there's an entrance that kind of leaves outside the cave where you can look above the trees. And we saw in the distance some of the trees moving and the birds flying away. But it seemed to head more west.
I wonder if it has anything to do with a pair of eyes that were watching us before. Well, anyway, I think we should probably maybe do with 2 people on watch.
Sounds fine with me.
I can help with the remainder of all the watches, of course.
You can do that.
Well, I basically already had my sleep.
With that, nothing else really happens. You're able to, Eris, you're able to get enough snow, fill up the water skins. The watch goes by. Casseron, you're able to wake up someone else.
I shove Fate. Wakey, wakey.
I guess I have to roll perception.
Oh,
Fate.
sorry, never mind. I will shove Bond then.
Okay.
Wakey, wakey, time to wake up.
Roll perception for Bond. No, I'm joking.
Ah, fuck.
Okay. You wake up on. It's cold. Like really cold.
Cold.
Yep. You warm yourself up a little bit by the fire. You and Eris are kind of keeping watch. Nothing really happens. You hear the crackling of the fire, and then suddenly the earth shakes, and the clave collapses as an earthquake happens. And you see yourself on the lovely plains of the undead, where you met Kellenvor once before.
Oof.
Yeah. I was trying to delay this until Bastion got back, but yeah. All jokes aside, no, you guys don't have anything happen during your watch. There's the crackling of the fire, the snow being melted into water, filling up the pouches, all that good stuff. Probably preparing for some sort of like morning meal or something like that as well at some point in time. Nothing really happens. By the time that your watch is done, it's like 1 a.m. And you guys have pretty much had your full rest. There's You guys all kind of wake up. There's not really much else to do at this point in time. You guys can kind of just like diddle around, gather some more firewood and things like that. But at this point in time, it would be considered your full rest.
Yeah. I guess I'll start preparing a meal. I'll use the deer meat again. Oop. Didn't mean to do that twice. Oh, only one
Right.
plus two. So.
Yeah. So you got all your stuff set up, adding in the deer meat, all that good stuff, and you make a pretty good stew. You added in some more stuff than just meat, so it actually has flavor this time. It's pretty nice.
It's nice to have something fun to eat. Elijah left.
Yeah, he should have joined the goddamn things. He should pay attention to Discord. Considering I said like 4 days ago that we're gonna have a session today.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Anyways, so yeah, you prepare a meal. It's pretty good. Tastes like chicken. Well, no, it tastes like venison. Let's be honest here. You added in some other stuff though, makes it pretty refreshing. Strangely enough, I would imagine that you probably added in like some of the berries and stuff like that you guys have gathered.
Yeah, some of the berries.
Yeah, strangely enough, once you mix all this stuff together and you try it, even though the stew itself is hot, the meat seems to be kind of like on the chilled side almost. And you feel this kind of weird cold sensation as you eat it. It's like this weird mixture between like a hot and cold sensation. And it's kind of unpleasant at first. It tastes good, but the sensation itself is kind of unpleasant of like this weird like hot cold kind of thing. Almost like as if you put like frozen ice cubes and are swallowing the ice cubes as you're drinking the soup kind of thing.
Oh. Okay, I get that. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, and so it's like this really uncomfortable sensation, but you feel almost strengthened somehow. Like you feel better than before, more hearty almost. As with all this, you guys now all have resistance to cold, and if you already have resistance to cold, that becomes immune.
Ooh. Don't we have
for the next 8 hours.
Don't we have resistance with the boots?
With the boots of the Winterlands.
Hell
So
yeah.
Simply, while you guys have the boots of the Winterlands on for the next 8 hours, you have immunity to cold.
Hell yeah. Someone help me feed Bastion.
I'll say that Bastion has it.
Okay.
Yeah. I used 5 pounds in the meat again, so I made enough for everybody.
It was an awful sensation, but you feel like as if the cold just doesn't matter anymore. Like you feel more resistant to it, more hardy. And it's kind of nice because now you don't feel like as if you're about to freeze your butt off at any point in time, but it feels more like how it normally feels, kind of temperate. Nice feeling.
Nice.
Whatever you did, Eris, do this again next time.
We'll need to make sure we get lots of the berries. How many did we use? Because I'm not the one carrying them, apparently. I only took the rime leaves. That means Bond's the one carrying the berries.
Yeah, the berries. You used about like a half a pound of the berries, and I think you have how many of the rime leaves?
I had 8 rime leaves.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, you used like 3 or 4. You used 4 of the rime leaves in order to do this, kind of like mixing them all together. The rime leaves mixed with the berries, mixed with the meat itself. It kind of gave you this potent energy, which your body sort of absorbed through the meal, that actually like reflects the cold.
That means we also have to search for the rime leaves as well.
Oh, Fate's back.
Oh, welcome back, Fate. Are we having issues?
Can't tell. He's muted. That sucks. But yeah, so you all have immunity to cold for the next 8 hours. Awesome. But mind you, it is like 1 a.m. still. So you guys can mill about until the sun actually rises, which would be in around like 6 to 7 hours. Or you guys could go and kind of like explore around. You could leave, continue your travels west, do whatever. It's up to you. Just keep in mind that the sun is not up yet.
Yeah. Well, I can use light, so me and Bond can probably go out. Maybe attempt to search for more rime leaves nearby before they like sunsets. I mean rises, not sets.
Yeah, if you wish to look for more of the berries and the leaves and stuff like that, you can do so.
Yeah.
We can do that.
That's Ron. Do you want to go with them, or is there something else that you want to do, or what?
I'll go with them. Why not?
Okay. I will need all of you to roll me. Well, actually, I want On to roll me a survival in particular, as I'm imagining Bond's kind of going to be the guiding force of this entire thing. Eris, I want you and Casseron to roll me either nature or survival. Nice natural 20.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, Bond, you're keeping track of where you guys are going. It started snowing more at this point in time. It's not like super heavy, but if you guys stay out too long, it will start covering your guys' track. So you're kind of trying to keep an eye out on where exactly it is that you guys are heading. You're not focusing too much on where the grasses or berries are at. You've kind of already shown them what they look like before, anyways. So, Eris, Casseron, you guys are keeping an eye out for said berries and rime leaves, which are the kind of like grass stuff. And Eris, during this time, you're looking for it and you trip. And poof, you're suddenly gone from everyone's sight. And as you kind of like swim your way back through the snow in order to stand back up, you kind of angrily push the snow aside and you realize you tripped over a branch. But lo and behold, due to not only the immunity to cold damage, but your strange luck, you actually have found a pretty decently sized patch of the rime leaves.
Ooh.
Well, Casseron, you don't find any of the rime leaves and you don't find any of the berries, but there is something else that you do notice. And that is this strange kind of silvery blue light that kind of like is winking in and out between the trees here and there. And you stop for a moment and you realize the fact that it's kind of slowly moving on its own, and it seems to kind of move like down and then back up, and then it kind of like moves around a little bit, and it almost seems to like kind of shift ever so slightly at some points in times, almost like as if it's like kind of looking around. And as you're looking at it, you kind of realize the fact that, those lights are kind of like in the shape of antlers. And you're just like,
quietly,
that might be one of those deer.
I quietly nudge Bon and just not even saying a word, I point it out and quietly whisper, I think that's another one of those deer right there.
Bon, as you look towards the direction you're pointing to, you notice that same light. And you're looking at it, and it does seem to have like this kind of faint outline of the same shape of the horns as the normal deer seem to have. It's kind of strange to you that they're glowing at this point in time, but I mean, who are you to say? Maybe the darkness makes them glow. Maybe it's not even the same kind of deer. Maybe it's not even a deer at all. You have no idea, but it does seem to have the same glowing shape as the deer's antlers.
Well, I guess I shall prep my bow and try and move a little bit closer to get a better sight.
All right. While you're doing so, Eris, you gather an additional 12 leaves of the rhyme leaves.
Yay.
You look up, you notice Bond seems to be gone from your freaking aura of light. And Castrum seems to be kind of staring off into some random distance. And you look over and you just see this kind of weird, like, floating antler-shaped light kind of, like, going back and forth a little bit. Bond, I need you to roll me a stealth check. Roll it with advantage. I should have said that before. So just, yeah, roll a second one.
I guess I'll lift my teeny body out of the snow.
All right. So you're able to, you kind of like walk out of the light and you kind of use the snow a little bit. Now that the snow doesn't seem like as if it's trying to like sap all energy from you and like kill you pretty much, and the trees aren't like slicing you to ribbons and like freezing you in place, this is a lot easier. You're able to use more of your natural instincts of hunting and that you've trained and things like that. And you're right back into it. And you're going through and you're getting closer and closer. And as you get closer, you notice the fact that, man, this thing seems like a deer, but now that you're closer, it seems larger, almost too large to be a normal deer, as it seems to like it might be like 10 feet tall, possibly. And the only reason the light was as low as it was because it seems to be eating something on the ground. And as you get closer, you're probably about 50, 60 feet away at this point in time, and you hear like the soft sound of something crunching. Roll me a perception check. You can't really get a good sight on what it is exactly that this deer is eating or really what it's doing. It looks like as if it's trying to eat something. Kind of hard to tell. The light that the antlers give off are pretty dim and are only kind of making the area around the head itself seem to glow. But as you're looking at it, you feel some sort of strange, like, cold energy, and it seems like as if the wind has gotten a little stronger as you are pretty much about 30 feet away from it at this point in time. I need you to roll me another perception check. As you've gotten closer, you realize the fact that, man, those antler shaped glowing lights are indeed like antler shaped, but that's not fur. That seems very reminiscent of scales. And you notice the fact that there seems to be wings on this thing. And it also seems to be very malformed in shape. And then you realize the fact that, man, the snow suddenly got really deep, and it's probably kind of like close to up to your chest at this point in time. And that might have made it to where the thing that seems deer-shaped is probably bigger than you think it is.
Man, this deer-shaped thing is not really deer-shaped at all.
No, not really. But it seems like as if it's eating something, and as you've gotten closer, it looks like as if there's splatters of blood around on the snow, as it looks like as if there might be one or two what looks like might have been remnants of winter wolves torn to shreds.
Oh, okay. I'm going to try and stealth back away from this now.
Do so with advantage. You're going through, and you're trying to stealth away. And as you realize, oh crap, this is something that I probably should not be messing with, you get this sort of like nervous feeling. And as you're walking through, you start making it back towards the radius of light from Eris. And as you're doing so, you hear a snap come from a tree branch that seems to have been under the snow. And it's just barely muffled. This is barely muffled snap. But even still, at that point in time, you feel like as if there's eyes on the back of you. And as you look over your shoulder, you see the fact that the blue antler-like lights now seem to be up in the trees, but there are pure blue orbs staring at you through the woods in the direction that you just came from. And you hear a roar, and you feel wind start to pick up. And you see what looks like as if wings spreading out from it, snapping into the trees.
Is it heading towards me?
It looks like as if it's about to prepare to do something, but you have no idea what it's about to do. You just hear a lot of branches snapping.
Right. I'm fleeing back to the party, and if I'm in range of them, I'm going to dive at least Eris and Casseron and try to push them into the snow.
As you do so, you guys hear a roar, and as you look in the direction that Vaughn kind of like went off into, you see him like dash out from under the eaves of the trees and just barrel into the both of you, taking you down probably about like 4 feet into the snow.
As I hit them, I just say, "Get down."
I get down.
And immediately everyone just gets down into the snow. And as that happens, I need everyone to roll me a Constitution save with advantage.
Yeah. Also just missed my light. Con save.
With advantage.
There we go. Fate was still in the cave. Fate and Bashman are still in the cave. So you shouldn't need to roll.
Ow.
Deadly campaign. All right, so you guys only take a fourth of the damage instead due to the immunity to cold damage. That seems to be even pierced by this. And which means you take 18 points of damage thereabout.
How much?
18.
I'm
Unfortunately, Castron, you are still down, but you guys are beneath the snow, and you hear this thing roar as it seems to like fly into the treetops and land right above you guys. And it seems like as if it's sort of there for a moment before it roars again and then takes off through the trees. And you hear the wings flapping as they slowly become distant. Eris, Bond, you guys notice the fact that Catron is out cold, and his normally purple skin is sort of bluish in color. Definitely not healthy. You guys are not feeling that great either.
Oof.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take one of my potions and then give another potion to Casseron.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll that healing.
So 7.
Is that for Casron or you? Okay,
That's
no.
for me.
Okay. And 9. Nice.
Wahoo!
Yep.
So, Casron, you kind of like have a potion shoved down your throat and you kind of like cough up some of the liquid as you're just like, I saw the bridge of death again. For like
Again.
the fifth.
I'm tired of dying.
Well, at least you're alive now.
I'm alive now. What the hell was that thing?
Not a deer.
I'm also gonna take a healing potion.
Can I do a
Possibly. What?
Can I do a history check to see if possibly I know what this is or have heard of it or think of it?
You have no idea what it is. It just looked like there was a antler-shaped light in the distance. You didn't get close enough to actually see it.
Ah, okay.
Would I be able to make like a nature check to see if it hits anything from what I would know?
Roll a nature check with advantage. You think about it, and you recall that back in the village that you guys had left from, heading out towards the west, they warned you of a creature to the far north that was draconic in shape. And that thing fit the description pretty damn well. Had weird, almost scale-like skin, cold aura radiating off of it, and wings, though almost skeletal in nature. The horn bit was not really explained before, but I mean, who knows? It could have changed over time, or maybe even the description wasn't fully right. But you feel like as if the closest thing this thing might have been was a blizzard dragon.
Possibly one of those blizzard dragons we heard about.
Wasn't that thing supposed to be so far north though? What's it doing here?
Exactly.
It might have followed the storm.
That's actually.
What? You guys need to roll me a perception check. You hear the word storm, Pasron, and you're just like, oh god. As you just realize the fact that you hear a sort of weird moaning sound.
Back to the cave, back to the cave.
And as you guys sort of look through the small amount of the trees that you can actually see through, you notice the fact that there is this weird wall of white that is right next to you guys. But as you guys are running from it, you notice the fact that it seems to be moving away. And after a scant few moments, almost like as if the storm was looking for something, it sort of like dies off. And then everything goes silent. And then after a few more minutes, you start to hear the natural wildlife seeming to come back to itself once more. The scritching of little animals in the darkness, other things like that. You also start to hear, strangely enough, for the first time that you guys remember entering these woods, the sound of bird calls. Though not like haunting crows or anything like that, but like little doves and things like that. Early birds, so to speak. At this point in time, it is pretty much about like 3:15 in the morning.
I guess that's why it was so quiet. Eris, gonna kind of hang her head down once we get to the cave, and I'm going to opt for taking a short rest.
Yes.
Go for it if you guys wish to. You guys could take a short rest.
Patch some of me wounds up at least. Get me back into the green, because that potion did nothing. I dang near rolled the minimum.
All right, so
Blizzard Dragon Fate.
these lands be dangerous ones, small folk. Regardless.
Something scary and we don't want to mess with. Thank goodness we had that immunity to cold, or else we'd be dead.
Yeah, no joke.
Literally.
Well, at least I know that my cooking is actually useful. Thank you for, at least adding some flavor to that. To the cooking, making it, a job actually have used in a group. The Blizzard Dragon seems to be what causes the storm from yesterday.
Thinking about that dragon, I might have a theory. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm just throwing it out here. Is it possible that these storms could follow that dragon?
That's an idea.
Could be the case, because when it flew off, a storm appeared again, but at least it was moving away from us.
I don't know. It's just an idea.
Something to definitely think about.
Regardless, after you guys take your short rest, it is now about 4 in the morning. Sun still won't come up for at least another few hours. Being near the entrance to the cave, you can kind of off the distance hear some wildlife, so it's probably okay around here at least. You guys are kind of getting the hang of the forest of if there's no sound of wildlife, probably bad to be out in the open, kind of thing.
Yeah.
As for what you do at this point in time is up to you.
Well, it may be a little dark. We could at least probably try to make our way out.
Start making
We
a
could-
trek and leave.
We could do some exploring, trying to gather some more berries and stuff, and then as it lightens up, make progress to getting out of here. Just kind of slowly go out towards it, and then once it gets light, actually start making progress.
Yep, that works too. Working for the berries and
All right.
It's good. We could always use more.
All right.
Use more.
So,
Repeats herself in a more grim tone.
so, you guys pack up your stuff, leave the rest of the stuff in the cave. You're unsure whether or not the wolves would have actually survived the blizzard dragon. As Bond, you notice the fact that there seem to have been at least a couple winter wolf corpses that were torn apart. You're not even sure if there's anybody to take care of this cave anymore. Regardless, you guys set out. Roll me nature or survival for looking for this. You guys are just, I imagine, just heading west while you guys are looking for stuff, rather than trying to keep track of going back to the cave.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
survival.
Oof.
Bon is still very worried about Dragon.
Makes sense.
So is Eris.
Castron.
Knocked out immediately, so it doesn't really big.
Castron's just like, if I die, I die at this point.
Oh, fuck shit anymore. Honestly, it's just a goal.
it's just a goal to die. Dying is only the beginning. Anyways, so Eris, Vaughn, you guys are kind of worried about the dragon. You're almost seeming to look more towards the skies and stuff like that than really at the ground too much. Castron, you're kind of tired of the ball. You're just looking for stuff in order to just pass the time. You do notice the fact that there does seem to be another small patch of the rime leaves, which you're able to gather another 3 leaves from, as well as a small bushel of the berries, which you're able to gather about another half a pound of berries from.
Hell yeah.
But other than that, you can't really find anything else. There is the habitual, like, squirrel and rabbit, and sometimes now even a bird, which the birds kind of, like, seem to blend in with the trees as they're, like, almost a pure white.
How do I add things to my inventory?
That diagonal slash.
Never mind, found it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, as you guys do this, and you travel ever more westward, it is now a little after 7. There's a small amount of light that's kind of trickling in through, and you figure now's as good a time as any to just freaking make haste at this point in time and just try and, like, haul ass through the woods.
Got it.
And so you are making some pretty decent progress. Roll me 2 perception checks for throughout the day.
Perception.
Those be rough perception checks.
I got an 18 twice.
I see that.
So 21.
Yeah, someone's covering for us.
Bond, you're more focused on, like, trailblazing than keeping too much of an eye out. You're kind of leaving that to the rest of the group. Bastion is kind of just, like, dazing off. You know, whatever. He doesn't exist right now. Fate,
Yep.
You're following along behind. Casseron, Eris, you guys are keeping a decent-ass look out for any untowards things, but throughout the day, there doesn't really seem to be much of any true issue. During one point in time, during the day, as you are kind of further into the woods at this point in time, Casseron, you do notice an actual winter deer this time. Clear to see in everything. This time, antlers not glowing.
I point it out. I stop Bon again and just, like, kill it.
Can we carry
If you wish to do so, let's say if you wish to do so, you can bond, but keep in mind the fact that you guys already do have, like, pretty much like 140 pounds of this meat.
Yeah.
Not including the fact that the pelt itself would probably be about into the 20 pounds.
Yeah. Plus, reminder, I still have 11 days worth of food, and we still have rations. I think we're good to go.
Okay.
The only thing that might be useful would be like the pelts.
Pelt and maybe the antler, but you guys don't really know. The antler had magic in it, but you don't know if it still has magic in it.
Yeah. But that'd be a big waste of the meat.
Or you guys could just drag it through the snow. That'll be fine, probably. Oh, goodbye, Fate. Anyways, so you guys.
Up to those two. If they want me to kill it, I'll take it down and skin it and try to collect the antlers.
You guys. Yay, nay. It seems like Pastor said yay and Eris said nay, so I mean, I guess it's up to Bond out of everyone.
Or Fate could, weigh it up.
Or Fate. Fate, kill deer or no kill deer?
That's
possibly
the
waste
question.
or possibly get magical antlers. Maybe they might be magical. No one's fully knows if they are or not.
Yeah, I didn't examine them, and I'm not really good with Arcana anyway. That's actually Fate's job.
No, I'm actually not joking. There's a winter deer that you guys have encountered once before.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So 2 people for killing it. So Bon, I guess you ready your stuff up. Roll that survival and stealth. The deer is probably about like 300 feet away right now. So you stealth up towards it.
So it's an Eldritch. So what you're saying is it's an Eldritch Blast range.
If you have spell sniper, yeah. Or the Eldritch Lance invocation. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not in range. I'll have to get closer.
So yeah, you go forward, and you've gotten used to this. You're a lot more confident in this. The immunity is still in effect as of this moment. It hasn't been long since you guys started moving forward. And you're within about like 100 feet of this deer. It hasn't seemed to have noticed you. It kind of seems to be like pawing through the snow and seemingly nibbling on grass. And you notice the fact that it actually seems to be nibbling on rime leaf. You now have the opportunity to take this thing down if you want to roll an attack for me. Nice. You let loose an arrow. You know where to aim. You unintentionally shot it before. You intentionally shot it this time. You shoot it into the eye. And once again, the thing goes down, seeming to kind of like squeal in pain for a moment or two before it dies. A lot quicker than the last one. This time you like intentionally shot it through the eye, unlike before. And as you go up to it, yeah, like I said before, you notice that it seemed to have been munching on some rime leaf. Though the rime leaf seems unsalvageable now, unfortunately.
Sounds about right.
So, as I said before, removing the pelt, survival. Removing the antlers would be survival or nature. And you can roll for them. The antlers for survival would be with disadvantage, though. All right. So you start removing one of the antlers. You've kind of gotten into it a little bit better. This time you have like a whetstone next to you as you're doing this, and you're kind of hacking through it. And then you take a moment and you sharpen the knife and you're hacking through it. It takes a lot longer than it normally would, but after about like 5 minutes of doing this, 5 to 10 minutes, you're finally able to get through the first one, and it falls to the ground, and this one does not shatter. You're not 100% sure what the heck the difference was, but for some reason, this one, whenever you actually sawed it off, like freaking just cutting it off, didn't seem to actually cause it to shatter upon hitting the ground. Though there was snow to cushion it, so who knows. Roll me another one for the second antler. This one takes a lot more time. It's draining on your physical strength to like hack through this thing slowly but surely over the course of minutes and minutes of just the same repetitive motion. And you finally do it, and it's not broken either. So you now have a total of 3 winter gear antlers. And as before, you notice the fact that that blue sort of tinge to the coat fades away. You can now use a normal survival check to dismantle the rest of this animal.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I was about to say you're pretty tired. You're able to get the pelt off, but unfortunately during that time you kind of like tarnish a lot of the meat, and there's like a lot of blood that kind of gets all over the place, and you're probably going to have to like treat the pelt in order to get a lot of the blood stains out of the white fur, or at least wash it off. As yeah, it was tiring work getting rid of those antlers. You have the pelt, but it's slightly damaged and kind of covered in blood.
Yeah, I'll wipe some snow on it and then pack it up and head back.
All right. So,
That works.
course of all that, that was about 30 minutes worth of your guys' time. So at this point in time, it's about 8:45. You guys are starting to feel the coldness set in, as it feels like as if that sort of weird immunity that you guys got from eating that the stew that Eris made seems to be starting to fade away.
I'm cold again.
Not just yet, but you do feel it starting to set in.
Alright, you ready to start heading out?
So,
Oh, did we want to carry any more of the meat? I mean, I can carry some.
some of the meat has been ruined due to the not really abysmal, but more like exhausted effort of Bond. And so instead of like the full close to like almost 200 pounds of meat, you would only be able to probably get about like 45, maybe 50 pounds of it instead,
I can carry that.
if you wish to.
Sure, why not? It's good
I'll
to
take
have.
25 of it.
Okay, so I'll
Okay.
take the other.
As you guys are going,
Oh, your inventory space, gosh.
yeah. As you guys are going, you guys are making your way through the wood. Not too long afterwards, you feel that bone-chilling cold once again set in as the boon fully fades away. Over the course of the rest of the day, there's not really a whole lot else that happens. There seems to constantly be like a little bit of wildlife here and there kind of around it through the shadows of the trees and things like that. You do see seemingly more and more birds, weirdly enough, as you're heading further west, almost like as if the birds just don't like living on the eastern side of the forest for whatever reason. But whatever, there's birds over here. And you guys head further and further west throughout the entire day. And over the course of that, it starts to hit sundown. And during that point in time, you guys, I imagine, search for some place to set up camp.
Yeah.
And let them continue on into the night. I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah, we'll
Keep in
start
mind,
searching for camp.
Yeah, we did yeah, start off the day pretty early.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, it has been lightly snowing the entire day, so there has been some stuff that has sort of built up on you guys, and that has sort of started dragging you guys down a little bit. It's pretty damn cold right now. About like almost -50. It's freezing as the sun goes down. So you guys set up camp, get everything prepped. You do hear wildlife here and there. There's if you wish to cook something, go for it. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll cook something. I'll just do a normal deer stew, not add anything to it.
Okay.
Oh. I have to add a +2 to that.
All right, yeah, you make it. You don't add really any of the special winter ingredients, I'll call them, but you do add some other like spices and things like that. Maybe some herbs that you brought along with you,
Yeah.
some of the things like that, in order to just kind of spice it up a little bit. And it tastes pretty damn good, actually. The venison itself actually has a slightly less gamey taste than normal venison for whatever reason. You're not sure if that has something to do with the magic or maybe the fact that it's not a true actual deer. You have no idea, but it tastes less gamey than a normal venison does, for better or worse. But it's a pretty damn good tasting stew. And you guys set up camp. I imagine that you guys are going to do your watches. Whether you have one person or two people is up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and set that as the first watch, just that way I can get that out of the way.
Okay.
I honestly feel safer with, actually, I want to say there's I feel safe with a 2-person watch, but I don't know.
I swear to God, I always roll a 10 whenever I roll perception for him.
I'll stay up with him. Perception.
Yeah, I'll take last watch as normal. Well, last watch is her.
All right. So, Castron, you and Bastion, you're kind of milling about. Bastion, not really paying too much attention, kind of more seeming to play with fire a bit.
Get your hand out of the fire.
Castron, you notice that all the wildlife seems to suddenly go silent. I'm joking. That doesn't happen. I felt the nervousness in you for a second there.
Immediately, just like literally
no.
just telling him, Bastion, stop playing with the fire. Pauses. Oh shit.
So, no, but you do have this strange feeling. A feeling like as if you're being looked at, like watched.
I look around and see if I can find those eyes that they were been talking about.
As you're looking around, where exactly are you looking?
Kind of like in the forest and like above the forest, like kind of above us.
So as you're kind of standing like above towards the top of the trees and stuff like that, you do notice these two glowing yellow eyes that seem to be looking down from startlingly close, like extremely close, almost like as if it's standing right above you. And it made no noise whatsoever.
Gently nudging Bastion even though he's not here and just pointing.
Oh. That's all he says.
That's fine. That it calms me.
As you are looking up at this thing, okay. As you're looking up at this thing, it takes a step forward, and you hear nothing. As it looks like an enormous paw print comes into your sight from within the depths of the trees into the firelight.
But I can't see it.
You can see the eyes, but the paw itself comes in, and you can see the fact that this paw is probably the paw print that was in the top of the tree, or not the tree, the tent, as it is ginormous, like it is huge. And it just goes, and the leg just goes up above the trees, and the head of this thing where the eyes are at now seems to be directly above you, looking straight down.
I just staring, just hello. Kind of definitely tense and like probably about to try and wake someone else up. But kind of like waiting to see what it does, or if it's friendly, or if it even understands me.
You see the eyes look almost like as if they squint at you. What are mortals like you doing in these woods? You feel a sort of like almost like rumbling sensation, like as if the voice is like more grandiose than the forest itself. And this wakes all of you up. And you notice, Pastron, that the eyes get closer and closer until you see the snout of what looks like a wolf being right through the eaves of the trees, peering down at you guys. And you see the bestial look of the eyes, the humid breath from this creature breathing right on top of you.
Just passing through.
Who?
The what is it called? That castle. Da, 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 da. I had it written down.
It looks towards the rest of you, seeing the fact that you all are now awake. Where are you heading?
Guys, what was that place called? I can't find it.
Oh, I think I forgot to actually.
What?
I forgot to write it down too. Shit. I thought I did.
I know I written it down. I just can't fucking find it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll history if I can remember.
Not 20.
You remember that you're heading towards the west for some castle, pretty much on the other side of these lands, pretty much on the opposite side. The name sort of somewhat escapes you, but you do remember the fact that it had something to do with the heart of earth as well as the heart of fire.
We're heading through here to the other side of the land to a castle. The name escapes me right now, but it seems to have something to do with the heart of earth and heart of fire.
You see the creature sort of look towards each of you once in turn, and you feel a pressure on you that seems to come and go as it looks in between all of you. And then the head goes right above the trees again. And you hear it speak once more. You wish to go to Stormfrost Manor, then?
Yes.
That is where we have been headed towards.
Where the fuck is
For what purpose?
To attempt to end this endless winter somehow.
You see the eyes widen a little bit before the eyes disappear. You wish to end this curse of winter. You all who couldn't even detect my own presence wish to fight a primordial being. Insolence. Regardless, if that is your purpose, who am I to stop you? All I ask is that you leave these woods quickly. Strangers are not welcome here.
Very well.
we'll make due haste in the morning to leave.
Good. That's all you hear him say as he disappears from sight, almost like a mist that seems to just fade away in the sunlight. He just almost evaporates right before you and disappears. The strong presence that you've all felt is now gone.
This will be interesting.
I wish the locals would have said to not even enter the forest.
Well, they're the locals. They probably didn't really know, maybe. Anyway.
You do recall that they did say not to enter the depths of the sacred paths.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
Anyways, not gonna lie, the rest of the night passes by without incident.
Cool. Wake up, gather things, let's go.
All right, so you guys set out at first light. As you guys are going, roll me a couple more perception checks for the day.
I also need to look for this wolf princess.
You guys can do some casual banter. I'm going to say that over the next few days that you guys are traveling, nothing really actually happens. I'm not gonna lie, like nothing happens during the time. You guys can have some travel banter if you wish to, here and there. Maybe keep an eye out or look for a couple things, but other than that,
Yeah, I'm gonna.
there's nothing that's really gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna attempt to look for like the berries and the rime leaves.
Same. And for
That's
any
about it.
signs of, like,
I'll go
wolf
ahead and
princess.
say the fact that no matter how hard you guys try and look, you can't really seem to find them, and you're starting to think that you might have been very, very lucky, or maybe they only grow in a certain spot in these woods.
Well, I remember the berries. We found them actually outside the woods at first.
You did, but you can't really seem to find the berries inside the woods as of now. Looking around, you can't really seem to find them as you're heading further and further west.
Yeah.
You're probably assuming the fact that they might grow more on the eastern side of the woods, or maybe even outside the woods, and that the woods themselves might actually be sort of split into like an east and west kind of thing, where different things happen on them. There doesn't really seem to be the rime leaves. Really did actually seem kind of rare. In fact, Vaughn, ever since you noticed that that deer was kind of eating them, you've been kind of trying to use the deer in order to mark the rime leaves might be at. But there doesn't really seem to be any of the deer around either. In fact, you're starting to feel like as if you might have been kind of lucky encountering those two deer that you did at all.
Oh well, we got some meat out of it.
Yeah. But you guys go through the next few days. Nothing really happens. Throughout the course of the nights that you guys are resting, you all do feel that sort of like impersonal pressure, like as if something is watching you, but it doesn't interact with you. You have a feeling it's probably the gigantic wolf, but it doesn't seem to interact with you guys, almost like as if it's watching you, making sure you're sticking to your word.
Makes sense.
Upon the sixth day, what?
I was about to say, hopefully we could maybe find the paths that the locals mentioned and stick to those.
At this point in time, you're so far off from the paths, it would be very, very difficult to actually work your way back to them.
I could have sworn that's also kind of what we attempted at first. So just we got really far off somehow.
You guys didn't say that you're going back to the path once you exited the wolf cave. You
I was
guys just
meaning when we
traveled
first
across.
entered, and so I guess we lost track after.
You guys had to run. You guys ran through the snow and stuff like that from the storm to the wolf cave, and then you guys exited the wolf cave and just immediately went west. And so, as you've been winding your way through the trees, you have no idea where that path did. It might have rounded a bit more south towards you guys, or it might have wound more towards the north.
Oh.
Because that path was not straight. You guys have pretty much just been heading straight west.
Okay, I honestly didn't realize that's what we were doing.
That you're doing. You guys are going to head directly to the west to get out of the forest as quickly as possible. Yeah. It's not like as if it matters at this time. I mean, you've already encountered the wolf. It's whatever at this point. But on the sixth day of creation, on the sixth day, the forest seems to be extremely foggy. It's really hard to see anything. And the travel is a bit slow going. This is 6 day in total since you guys first entered the forest, just so you know. About like third to fourth-ish day after leaving the wolf cave. You guys keep traveling through this strange fog. It's really hard to see anything at all. In fact, it's actually kind of hard to even see yourselves. So it's a bit slow going, but after most of the day, it's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, whenever you feel a strange sensation. And as you look up, you notice the fact that there's no tree leaves. And that through the fog that's surrounding you guys, you can kind of dimly make out the direction of where the sun is at right now. As you guys have finally made it out of the Rime Wood.
We're finally out.
Thank goodness.
This time, next time, let's go the other way.
Oh, we need to go more north next time and go around because we still have to find the wolf princess.
Go the other way where? I'm joking. That doesn't happen.
Just immediately just looking up,
Anyway.
see it's still there. It's like, hello, big giant doggo.
No, you guys are now officially out of the fog. You do still feel the presence of that wolf guardian creature entity seeming to be staring at you from the woods itself, though it doesn't seem to be moving closer to you guys. It seems to be staying on the boundary.
I want to try something. Not sure if it'll help, but kind of turn towards the forest, not entering, and he'll kind of look up above, somewhat like where the head might be, and just say, I know we know you're still there. Can't quite see you, but do you have any idea where the wolf princess might be? We also needed to check in on her.
There doesn't seem to be any answer.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Suddenly, you notice it seems like as if from you can't really see anything due to the fog, but the voice seems to be right next to your ear. What do you wish of my charge?
Her sister is looking for her and asked us to come find her to see how she is.
The ice witch.
Yes.
Very well. You feel a breath go by you, and it's soft at first, and then seems to almost gain in strength until you feel like as if it's a full-on like blast of wind from a storm. And you all have to kind of shield your eyes as you feel the snow and like particles of ice kind of like flying into your face pretty much from the direction this is coming from, and you kind of turn away. And
I can't hear
as it
you.
finally dies down, you look around you and the fog is completely gone. And little did you know, barely 150 feet away from you, there are about 15-foot tall wooden walls that seem to be surrounding what looks like might be a village.
Oh shit.
You also notice the enormous figure of the wolf. This wolf seems like as if it is like wolf kind personified. It has perfectly sleek looking fur. There's a strange symbol on its forehead. The eyes are this icy blue, and you notice that there seems to be like almost like frost energy kind of like warping around on the fur itself, almost like an extension of it. And it looks down at you all and then looks back forward. And it kind of strikes you as odd. The eyes glowing yellow, but the eyes themselves seem to be blue, and you're not 100% sure why. That is until he looks directly at you, and there almost seems to be a sort of grin, like as if he notices your confusion. And the eyes turn to a yellow kind of orb look, like that you're familiar with, and then they fade back to blue. And now you know why the eyes suddenly randomly disappear.
Interesting.
So it seems like as if you're looking for Kari. Follow me. I'll lead you into the village and they won't attack you. But be forewarned. Endanger them, and I will end you.
Understood. We have mean and no ill intentions, only just to complete this task.
Eris will give him a little bow. Thank you.
The wolf just nods towards the wall and starts to slowly pad out from the forest into the open area towards the village. Still making no sound.
We will follow.
No, I see you making decisions for everybody now, are you? No. So you guys make your way to the village. It's a short trek, like I said. It was like 150 feet away from you. Really not that far. And as you guys make your way to the wall, you do notice there seems to be some sort of activity on the top of it, and then you hear what sounds like as if a horn being blown, like as if it's some sort of like warning or announcement. You're not 100% sure. But at that point in time, you see what looks like a procession coming out from the gate. And at the lead of it seems this kind of, weirdly enough, scantily clad, red-haired woman. Well, it's nice to see you, Great Wolf. What misfits have you brought us this time? And I think that's where we'll end the session today.
Okay.
Hooray, we almost died.
Hooray, we found the
Yeah.
wolf princess. We won't die by her. Not her, but her sister.
Well, the last thing I wanted to do before the wolf disappears is give him an offering.
Oh, he won't have disappeared just yet. Like what he said, Kari is his charge. There's a reason she's called the Wolf Princess.
Yeah.
He's not going to disappear.
Oh, okay.
I just figured this would be a good place to kind of cut off, as once we start getting into this, there'll be a lot more like RP stuff going on, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty much going to go into not too long after that into a battle that's probably going to take the entire session because there's a minimum amount of rounds that it has to last for the battle to end.
Fun.
Sounds good. Hopefully I remember I'm going to do this, though.
You can make a little note.
Yeah.
Make a little note in your thing or on your character sheet or something like that. Discord chat or character sheet in Fantasy Grounds, either one.
Yeah.
Be able to do it.
Yeah, I usually use the little notes thing in Fantasy Grounds, but I also have a few sticky notes.
Either one of those, I think you'd be able to do. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure if the voices went across like they're supposed to, because it's not like I can hear myself. But I hope that the voices are off.
It sounded like they did. At least it did for me.
Because this voice was supposed to be a lot deeper, but
It was deep for me. I can always send you the
this
recording
is
after.
supposed to be a lot more feminine, so I don't know.
And it sounded feminine to me.
Okay,
To
good.
me, it
I
sounds
wasn't.
just muffled.
It
That
does
might
sound.
just be just on my end, at least.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, this is me using completely new devices and software, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah.
Yay! We're gonna have fun talking with Wolf Princess, and Fate's gonna have fun oogling her.
I'm kind of sad that you guys never explored the remnants of items that were left in the wolf den.
Oh.
I thought about it, but oh well.
Oh, there went Fate's magic item.
Oh no.
I'm joking. No, but there was something I was going to give you guys if you did explore that, but you guys didn't. So I was just like, oh well.
I didn't even know there was items left. Shit.
Yeah, I said